Hey guys, welcome back here to another episode of the World's Pink Ward, where we are currently halfway through qualifying our teams for quarterfinals, with Korea getting 2 teams in with KT Rolster and HLE, China locking in Anyone's Legend, EU depositing G2 into the bracket. Today's series will determine if another Korean or Chinese team will get in, with Genji playing against Top Esports, and on the flip, another EU team is fighting on the brink of elimination as MKOI will take on the LCP's Team Secret Wales, where we'll start it off. MKOI would start this game with an early lead, but some mid-game scaling would help TSW take it back, giving up Rift Herald but still managing to get a few kills with it. A few minutes later, MKOI gets a pick that would let their confidence get boosted, but it would be short-lived, with Otacon and the ensuing fight then going to TSW, which then snowballs into a Drake Soul Baron power play to crack the base and for them to take game number 1. Game 2 was a very methodical game that saw TSW's Pun in the top lane take over as the bully that we all know Renekton to be. With early game lane swaps, he built a massive lead in CS and experience that would impose over Mirwin, which would then be accentuated by him getting dove in the top lane, leading to a solo bolo kill from the Croc. MKOI would find a great pick that would get him 4 kills and put him right back into it, and a few solo picks would give Movistars a sizable lead they could then turn into a Baron and their team fighting ability to push a third and decisive game where winner takes all. And from the get-go, the pressure was evident, as both teams wanted to create their own advantages and opportunities, setting up ganks, dives on opposite sides of the map, happening concurrently. MKOI would succeed in their kill on the bot side, but a mistaken turret aggro would result in Hero getting executed after getting the kill onto Mirwin. MKOI thought they would get a pick on his toe and overestimated their lead, as it would then turn into a 2-for-1 trade going the other way. Elyoya and his pack of hellhounds would find the ways to just walk at TSW menacingly, helping them win their fights around neutral territory and stack a sizable lead for MKOI. Secret Wales would attempt a last-ditch effort to keep them afloat at Baron, but the flank from Alvaro and the dogs of Elyoya would wipe them off the map repeatedly, eventually wiping TSW out of Worlds and keeping EU alive for another day. And now, we'll take it to the top, where 2 behemoths of Genji and Top Esports face off for qualification. Genji entered into Worlds as the top overall team according to the All Esports Power Rankings, and thus probably find themselves surprised to not have been a 3-0 qualifier and still here playing in Swiss. They would find a perfect dive in their first game, as well as the perfect balance of damage distribution from top around river, flawlessly pulling a bait and switch to get 2 kills and 2 of the grubs for the team. Forceful push down mid lane by Genji would seemingly catch Cream at fault, taking an unintentional trip into the middle of the entire opposing team, then snowballing into 4 kills for Genji and the beginning of a very slippery slope that Team Top Esports could not get off of. Genji would perfectly get their fights, disengages off to burn the cooldowns from Top Esports to bide their time out, find the right fight, and push Top over and win game number 1. Our second game would let us know that the Church of CHOVY was now in session, as he would get an unlikely first blood kill onto Cream that would just set the tone, honestly, for the rest of the game. Top Esports would be so focused on what CHOVY was doing, where he was, what he wasn't doing, and where he wasn't, that it would just allow Ruler to free fire, chip into the health bars of TES, and before you know it, everyone on top is dead, or just running for the hills trying to save what life they have left. Even when they thought they had a pick onto CHOVY, who at this point rent-free in their minds, Genji recognized what's happening and just collapsed fully onto TES and wiped the floor with their bodies. Top would get themselves a fight that they thought maybe could give them a chance to get back into the game, but the next one up saw Genji bide their time once again, waited for their cooldowns to come up, get the engage they wanted, bait out the cooldowns from Top, turn on heal, and then dismantle TES to break it down to be the 3rd team from Korea locked in, making their quarterfinal berth. Our next series would be the deciding factors of who gets one last chance to move on to quarters and who would be voted off the island, both of them highlighting an LTA team. First off, VKS would take on BLG, both having a slower start to Worlds than they would have liked. The first skirmishes almost would have equally gone, with not much of an advantage being pulled one way or the other, each team trying to find themselves a leg up, get a foothold, but some greedy plays, some sloppy mistakes that would result in just unnecessary risks. BLG would pull back a little bit, start to focus, get more objective-oriented, and not worry about punishing the kills as much, securing Otacon, picking up a Baron, with a gold advantage that was then built up to then triple in the next 6 to 7 minutes. VKS at that point could do nothing but watch as BLG would tip the scales to take their first game of the series. In Game 2, started with what felt like a little bit of forced aggression from VKS, a little maybe desperation coming in, trying to get an early lead. But instead, they would give up first blood to Knights LeBlanc, which ultimately probably is worst case scenario. They would get one back, but lose a bunch of resources in the fight that would prove problematic in the future. Knight would continue to stack his lead, picking up a huge quadra kill at the 15-minute mark in a Medjai's Soul Stealer that would immediately become a mountain that VKS would have to climb in and of itself. VKS would get a pick onto Knight, proceed to then turn it around, tie the game back up, spark of hope, get the game back to a coin toss state, but the early lead from Knight and the threat posed would be enough to make VKS hesitant with some of their engages, and the late game scaling lets Elk get the items needed to deal some serious damage and share the load of carrying BLG. A lapse in vision would give Knight the perfect chance to sneak in undetected, assassinate Morteus, and set up BLG for their Baron that would then move their massive gold swing, siege the VKS base before chipping down most of the inhibitors. VKS would hold strong at first to try to force back the other way, but once BLG respawns, Ben would teleport into the base of VKS with the super minions, and in the game, the rest of the team scrambling, trying to get back in time, but too little too late as BLG moves on and sends VKS home after a grueling 44-minute match. The other LTA team on the Rift today was 100 Thieves, taking on defending back-to-back world champions in T1. 100 T would start out with the lead, a few good dives, with T1 playing reactively, couldn't really find their foothold early on. The Thieves would live up to their namesake to walk in and steal the dragon, but T1 would then turn the fight around and take down most of the members of 100 Thieves, and they did the exact same thing at Otacon, where 100 Thieves would come in, steal the objective, but much more decisively this time, T1 would win that fight outright. The most notable issue in this game was a sleeping giant that Gumayusi was, scaling up on Corki, not dying, being relatively under the radar until he would quickly pick up 5 kills. And that reservation would also be problematic for T1 as they would lose a fight to give up their first Baron, giving 100 Thieves some ground to come back into the game. Riding that confidence, you could see 100 Thieves wanted to try it again, but then would just get swept off the doorstep by T1. Dokla tries to engage a fight before Elder, but his solo death would then result in the advantage T1 needed to know they can win the fight, hold on to the objective, and 100 Thieves absolutely cannot just let it go without trying to get the objective. T1 called the bluff, aced 100 Thieves, and then would walk it down to win the first game. Backs against the wall, 100 Thieves thought to try and punish Faker in the mid lane to get first blood onto him again, but the draft built around keeping Gumayusi alive, and they would do a pretty good job of that. Hood would have some flashy plays that were on his Akali, help maintaining an even gold chart, but that would still be offset by T1's ADC and the chain CC power that their draft held onto in mid stages of the games. Picking up a pair of kills around Baron would give T1 the foundation needed to reinforce their lead. An attempted dive to the backline would have Gumayusi simply walk to the front line, keep himself alive, dealing all the damage needed to wipe 100 Thieves off the map, out of Worlds, and into the sunset, as this would be the last professional League of Legends game with a 100 Thieves banner. Selling their franchise slot off in the LTA, T1 now, expectedly, moves on forward into the 2-2 bracket with BLG. That being said, we now have 3 best of series left. 5 slots secured and 6 teams fighting to be the last ones in. Next video up, we're going to take a look into the games of the series featuring a LPL matchup of Top Esports and BLG that we are very familiar with. CFO taking on the LTA's last hope in FlyQuest, and the defending champions now holding on to keep their title fight alive. We're taking on MKOI as they try to join their EU G2 brethren in the quarterfinals. Let me know down below what you think about the sunset of 100 Thieves. Is it an appropriate way for them to be bid adieu into the League of Legends world as the Crown King of Faker sends them off? Do you think that MKOI will be able to take down the King? I'm not so sure about that one, but there's a lot to think about, and we can't wait for those results to come out in the next video. But for now, that's all we have here, so don't forget, we're going to reset, recall, and buy some more awards. I'll see you guys in the next video.